Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Raffi Margaliot. I work for HP. One of the challenges in such conferences, and I think you took a lot of pride of it in the beginning, you managed to assemble, I think it's like 700, 800 people, but really lots of different disciplines. And as I was looking at the track agendas, figuring out how best to use my 20 minutes, and I saw data analysts, and algorithms, and founders, and CEO, and one business person here from Carmel. But overall, I think it's a very, big data is a huge topic. It's a huge topic that right now, where I'm at, HP Software is almost betting all of its future on. But we see many, many large companies, small companies, looking at how big data changes everything. So what I'd like to spend the time, first I'd like to take the first 2-3 minutes and just say a few words about HP in Israel. We have heavy investment. It's not that known, unfortunately. Most people, when I say I work for HP, come either with their laptop problem or their printer problem. Our CEO is actually trying to fix it right now, which I'll go into in 1 second as well. But just a bit about HP, and HP made a massive bet in Israel. It's the second largest multinational employer after Intel, who were here before us with about 8,000 employees. Most of it through either acquisitions of startups or other multinational companies. Shurna was the last one we invested in last year, and invested in Adalom just a month ago, another Israeli company. So constantly growing our investment overall in Israel. Billions of dollars have been put into the country, and different units from the printing group to we have a HP Labs, a research facility in the Technion with about 30 PhDs just doing research. And this lab, surprisingly, its topic is around analytics. So also betting in Israel and leveraging the scientists we have here for big data research. We have Indigo, who do the printing, like all the Coke bottles with the first names and of 100 most popular girls and boys' names, which ran across all Europe and actually managed to grow Coca-Cola's revenue significantly, was done thanks to the printers that were invented, designed, and even manufactured here in Kiryat Gat and Nes Ziona. But because we have all the printing and enterprise and consumer together, one of the reasons, but HP is now going through a split. So we're going through actually from a $120 billion company to two tiny $60 billion companies. But overall, the idea is one. So when I say I work for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, they won't confuse me for somebody who actually is working for the printers or the ink or the laptops. But more seriously, to try and get each of these companies, one, to focus more in the consumer market, and the second at the enterprise, which I guess a lot of you are trying to address as well. So everything from hardware, network, storage, to software, to services for the enterprise, that's where Hewlett-Packard Enterprise is going to go. And this is where HP Software will be landing at. HP Software composed of a few business units, one of them which I run, application delivery, based on Mercury in the past, all of our testing, anything from requirements management to managing of agile projects to testing and monitoring in production. We have other business units. One of them is just focusing on big data, and it's a combination of acquisitions, Vertica and Autonomy, two massive acquisitions which got us amazing IP in the big data space. Now, a bit about, and if I take a step back, big data, drastic investment across the board, lots of new technology from new compute power to new storage to new networks. But when we look at really what's driving today's emphasis on big data, and I look at three key things that are affecting that drive. One of them is really new technologies. So if, just a few years ago, 5 years ago, most of us, take 10 years ago, so it's going to be really all of us, but is working through our desktops on probably a Windows operating system and IE as a browser. But over the last few years, every person's interactions with technology, it's not about the computers anymore. Every single person in this room, I'm sure, has a smartphone, and probably at least one tablet at home, and some of you are looking to buy a watch, and then glasses when they eventually come up, or Google is able to deliver on the science fiction promise. But at the end of the day, today we're accessing technology through so many new interfaces and lots of new sensors that come with it. So it's not just about me and the computer, but there's a location, I'm accessing it through the GPS. We have the camera, we have the microphone, we have the oscillator, we have odometers, we have endless now sensors that come in every device and generate these data streams. Generate data that never existed before, but now generating them in much faster pace than ever was possible before, because every single person is connected through some way and feeding in all this data into the world. We also have new business models. So we heard about software eating the world, but almost every single industry out there is being completely transformed and digitized, mostly by software. And I think luckily for all of you and me, we're in that software industry. And there's a few examples where there's what Uber and Get Taxi are doing now to transportation. We look at the banking industry has gone already through multiple technology revolutions, from mainframe to client server to web and to Web 2.0. But now it's actually having massive effects on the whole banking industry. Lloyd's of London just fired 9,000 people because people don't go into branches anymore. They all access their banking through their smartphones or tablets or phones at home. Generating a lot more traffic and actually introducing new business models in finance. We have auto trading now keep on picking up, and we see that computers analyzing lots of data could actually do trading sometimes even better than people who are professionally built for that or learning for that and made it their whole profession. So we see lots of industries, Netflix and what they're doing in the media and to television. We see Spotify into just audio, but every industry is going through massive disruption because of technology. And what that means is actually they're starting to collect more and more data, and we in this industry could leverage that data to do a lot more things that we never imagined before. And if open source is actually in making big changes in software, overall you see software becoming more and more critical to every single aspect of life or industry or business, whether it's to healthcare or whether it's to, again, endless examples out there. But it's becoming harder and harder to actually sell that software or make money selling off that software. What we see more and more companies do is actually sell and monetize the data and the analytics on top of the data that is leveraged because every business is now digital and records all this information, stores us all this information, and gets you the capabilities to analyze, look at whether it's anomalies or whether it's insights, to turn all this data into actions. So really, across the world, we see industry by industry going, transforming, becoming digital, and then opening up the data for research and for creating new businesses on top of it. And it could be even in some of the areas that we would have never imagined. In Israel, we have Yad Vashem doing a massive archive of lots of artifacts going back many years ago. And one of the biggest challenges that has been connecting all the dots across the archives is that if you look at Holocaust victims, many of them, as they went through Europe during the war, their names were spelled differently depending on the country they were at. Sometimes you have photos, sometimes you have documents that are describing different people, different events, but never before they got all digitized, were they able to actually connect these dots and sometimes connect that a single person or a single survivor or a single victim and their walk through World War II. Now, through Yad Vashem dumping all that information in some of the big data analytical engines, you could actually start, and Yad Vashem's big charter today is how to actually make all of the Holocaust accessible to the younger generation. Not those who actually physically go to visit Yad Vashem or go through the seminars, but they're trying to see how they could engage people from across the world and with the data that they have. And one of the things we are working on is actually, and we'll probably open it up to all of you out here in the audience, is a hackathon that is really about how do we creatively create for the next generations engaging experiences looking at all the data and all the archives that are stored today in a digital form. Again, one small example of how new types of technologies are completely transforming things that we would never have thought would gone through that stage. We also see business models that in industries that are still far removed from the finance or banking or communications or transportation that we're seeing. Just saw a very interesting example where theaters in Barcelona were trying to attract audiences because of subsidies there, tickets become very expensive. So through analytics of face recognition, they actually started people for theater tickets by the amount of times they laugh at a comedy. If you look on YouTube, Pay for Laughs, a very fascinating video. But through technology of analytics and face recognition, they're starting charging a few euro cents for each time somebody laughs, and you end up paying for a comedy based on how many times you laughed, not based on a ticket you bought before. Now they're looking for pay for tears and pay for WTFs, harder to catch that expression. But really enormous opportunities, and every new business model that takes an existing industry, transforms it, now gives us lots of data to analyze and try to create new businesses from it and on top of it. We're also seeing new delivery methods that completely changed our industry over the past 5 years that also makes big data much more relevant for everything we do. One is delivering of software as a service. If we looked at the package application space, ERP, CRM, all the data in the past was very local to each company separately, and the amount of analytics was really the business intelligence each company tried to run on their own databases. Today, when whole companies, even very conservative companies like HP, take our most sensitive information, all of our sales and customer data are now sitting on Salesforce across the $120 billion of revenue. We took also all of our most sensitive HR data, people, compensation, bonuses, all of that is now on Workday. All of these are public cloud services. Now, when you have the data of HP with our 300,000 employees, but you actually have now data from lots of companies all over the planet, and all of that software is delivered as a service, the amount of analytics and intelligence that you can derive from all that information that is stored on these databases and in this storage is unbelievable. And today, help desks that store tickets, actually their core value is not about delivering the help desk service, but it's really about delivering which type of hardware fails most frequently, which type of software creates less bugs. We internally in HP Software are leveraging our big data platform in almost every single domain that we do. Specifically in application delivery management, my business unit, we're looking now into predictive ALM. And we actually took some of the algorithms and engines that we already have running and looked at our past releases. And we could actually, based on information we already stored on defects, on tests, on check-ins, on the people, on technology, we could actually predict now a quality of release before it gets released. And it was amazing that when validating it over historical data, we got more than 80% accuracy on the information that we had. We could try and predict what will happen in the market when our products hit production. We could predict in terms of performance where it will break, where are going to be crashes, where are there going to be issues. Oh my God, it's hard to condense 20 minutes. Anyway, all these new delivery problems, all these new types of software delivery, also huge opportunity for big data. One, aggregating that information, and second, generating insights and taking action based on top of that data. So a bit about our HP's view and how we try and address big data. And we split data overall in business data always existed. Existed since the days of CRM and ERP. But if you look at package information, package application information, all that where business intelligence came in and where we had all these data warehouses, which still generate most of the revenue, they sit on top of this business data, and that keeps on growing. But what we see today growing much, much faster than the business data is looking at machine data. All these terabytes of logs that are created in the data center, that are created through our mobile phones, that created now through the watches and through the glasses, and even through refrigerators. Or Samsung now puts some apps in the refrigerator. It can read how much milk you have and when are you going to be run out of produce. But all that machine data is going to be stored and analyzed, and is all going to be leveraged to create that next generation utilities, application, insights when you're able to harness it. But then even growing faster than that machine data is human data. Does anybody have a problem with too many pictures they're taking and what to do with them? It's a massive problem every single person out there now has, whether it's my son or whether it's my mother, but everybody's aggregating way too much human information, which they needed to figure out to sort through, and then lots of analytics that could be derived from it, whether it's video, whether it's photos, whether it's audio. All that human information is actually growing much faster than our machine data information or business data information. And what we're doing today at HP is through our Haven platform, which took together Vertica, which is a structured data analytical platform, and took on Autonomy with IDLE, which has endless engines for actually big data analytics for the unstructured data, for the video, for the photos, for the audio. A lot of it is actually free to use for all of you on demand. If you could just Google IDLE on demand or Haven on demand. But all these APIs basically let you leverage and build out all these kinds of algorithms, leveraging analytics, and whether it's on the Yad Vashem archives and trying to create meaningful insights or actual engagements from that data, or information from your banking system, or looking at a call center and automatically analyzing who are the reps that actually end up with whoever is calling on that line happy, upset, from which regions, from which products. When is a customer ending a call happy, or when is it ending a call agitated? Extremely insightful information. Today it's all done by either manager listening onto online or recording the conversations and having somebody go offline and listen to all these calls. What we're enabling is actually in real time, through some of the technology that we got through Autonomy, actually analyze what is the mood or what is the perception of that person on that call, and derive immediate feedback. And if that person or that customer ended up on a call unhappy, we could have their manager immediately call back the customer and try and turn around that information. Again, in the 30 seconds I have, I won't be able to get into the core IP and different technologies out there, but definitely encourage you to go and take a look and see. A lot of these APIs are open up for developers. We are trying to partner, and again, even just in Israel, there's so much opportunities for leveraging a lot of these. If you look at healthcare data, healthcare is something drastically growing across the world and leveraging big data for a lot of things. In Israel, we actually have a unique identifier, our national ID number, that tracks all the medical history of every single person from birth till death. And because all of us are registered to one of the national Kupot Cholim, which actually track in a single system of record all of our healthcare industry history. Through that, we can actually provide a lab out there to the world of anybody who wants to do research, if we're able to anonymize and hide enough the data that's stored in there, but just to do that research on healthcare. So again, lots of opportunities. We're trying to leverage big data across the board, every single business unit that we have in software and across the board. We'll be here. We have some demos downstairs, and any questions that you have, feel free to either get to the team here, or you could send me directly a note, Raffi@hp.com. Thank you very much.